The voice, Russ Bray.
Well, welcome back to the IJsselhallen in Zwolle in the Netherlands for the crescendo, the climax, the finale of the Dutch Darts Masters. Michael van Gerwen, the world number one, looking to claim this title for a fifth consecutive year. But we have 8 different men in the quarterfinals, all from different countries. An Irishman, an Austrian, a Belgian, a Scotsman, an Englishman, a Northern Irishman, an Australian, and the Dutchman Mighty Mike. Peter Snakebite Wright, the number 2 seed, will be the favourite to make it through to the final in one half of the draw. Van Gerwen obviously the favourite in the other. However, we've seen some big displays from the likes of Daryl Gurney, Stephen Bunting, and indeed Mensur Suljovic. And it is Mensur who gets us underway against the Irishman Steve Lennon in the opening game of the night. 4 quarterfinals followed by the semis and the final to come. £25,000 to the winner and the title of the Dutch Darts Master here on the European Tour, the best tour in professional sport.
Ladies and gentlemen, first leg Steve to throw first. Game on!
I'm Dan Dawson talking you through the opening game of the night. Chris Murphy alongside me.
Yeah, Steve Lennon in uncharted territory. Not because he's kicked off of a maximum, but because he's kicked off of a maximum in a European Tour quarter-final, the final session of a Euro Tour event. And what a session it's going to be if they carry on like this now.
A perfect start for both men. In the mood. Oh. 180-40.
Mensur Suljovic had 4 180s in his win against Simon Whitlock. Is he going to do the same thing here? No, he's going to do much, well, a bit better. Has been a topsy-turvy tournament. We've seen some absolutely brilliant performances and we've seen some quite crazy games too. The one between Cameron Menzies and Kyle Anderson that was second to last this afternoon was a bizarre encounter which Anderson won 6-5. He will meet Michael van Gerwen in the last quarter-final. That's the top half of the draw where Bunting and Daryl Gurney will go head-to-head. The winner of this one takes on the winner of the match that follows between Kim Huybrechts and Peter Snakebite Wright.
Yeah, well, so far this weekend, Michael van Gerwen has been nowhere near his usual high standards. He's only averaging around about 93, 94 for the tournament, and very un-MVG-like. Just cruised past Terry Jenkins and had a real slog against Darren Webster. Perhaps a little fortunate to come through it, to be honest. So maybe he's not going to have it all his own way. Unlike last weekend, when it got to this stage of the tournament and he was untouchable. Averaged 110 all the way through.
Well, Suljovic has the first chance. But he's missed that chance by missing the big number. 17 would have given him the bullseye. And Lennon will return for tops.
91. Steve, you require 40.
Tidied up. Oh, that looks like a good guy. Just to brush it off the barrel and into the bed. And Steve Lennon draws first blood in this first quarter-final. Half the field here, bidding for a first European Tour title. Michael van Gerwen, actually the only man in the field, unless I'm mistaken, to have picked up a title all this year.
You are correct. Titles have not really been shared around so far this year, despite having a couple of new winners on the Euro Tour, in the Ferret, Johnny Clayton, and the Maximizer, Max Hopp. Max wasn't here this weekend, didn't make it through, and the Ferret went out very early in the tournament.
Going to be a little break between European Tour events, but that's because there's loads more darts happening. We've got Gibraltar and Copenhagen coming up back-to-back. The next couple of European Tour events, they're in June, but before that, we've of course got the Premier League final on Thursday, then a Players' Championship doubleheader in Milton Keynes, before the German Masters and World Cup events.
59.
Yeah, Mensur and Steve Lennon will be involved in the World Cup of Darts.
85.
Mensur teaming up with Zoran Lurchbacher for the first time. Zoran, a two-time Pro Tour finalist and very solid player. Could be a dangerous side again, the Austrians. Although the Irish, with Steve Lennon and Willie O'Connor, they've got potential. They can both play fantastically. It's inconsistency that will determine how far they go.
Mensur require 149.
Well, Lennon's left himself poised here, forcing suljovic to try and take out a big three-figure combination, which he's not going to do. A chance for an early break of throw.
61.
No sign of nerves so far. Did start to get a little bit twitchy towards the end of his win against James Richardson.
A bit.
With a picture of calmness, isn't he, here so far?
He is, and that is expertly taken out by Steve Lennon. He did get a healthy lead against James Richardson, and then he kind of went to pieces a bit. Richardson played a bit better, but the last leg, I mean, it was dreadful from both men. There were back-to-back visits of 26 for Steve Lennon. He ended up just crawling over the line with a 21 darter in the last leg decider, surviving one dart for the match from James Richardson. It was just sort of watching two men who'd fallen apart mentally, desperately trying to scramble over the finishing line, and one of them had to. In the end, it was Steve Lennon, and he finds himself in the final session of a Euro Tour for the first time in his career. He has made quarterfinals on the Pro Tour before, a couple of times. And that's one of the reasons why, certainly, I've been expecting him to go and have a little run on the European Tour at some point. He keeps going out to the seeded players in the second round, but usually giving him a real test. He's had a bit of luck this weekend. He's ridden it, and here he is, 2-0 up on Mensur.
Both these men have won a couple of matches to get to this stage. Lennon beating Roby John Rodriguez on Friday, also 6-5. And then didn't have to play on Saturday because Rob Cross decided not to play in the tournament due to illness and wants to rest up ahead of the Premier League finals on Thursday. Suljovic entered the tournament on Saturday and he beat Josh Payne in 11 legs too. He was more convincing against Simon Whitlock.
He was bringing an end to a run of 3 consecutive defeats to the Wizard. But he wasn't his usual deadly clinical self earlier on, Mensur Suljovic. It's kind of weird. You know, Mensur's won a Euro Tour title before. He's a reigning televised title champion. Van Gerwen is obviously the man to beat, but neither of those guys have played their best this weekend.
No. Once again, Lennon's handy, but Suljovic can break here. Can't in this visit now.
73.
3-0, and this would be a turn-up for the books. Steve Lennon can give himself a very, very healthy lead. Double top is the target, and double top is hit. And Mensur just has not got going.
Lennon's appeared in 4 development tour titles in his career, for those who are not familiar with the Irishman yet.
Finals?
Yeah, finals, yeah. Won a couple of them, beating Kirk Parry and Ted Everts. The ones he lost were to men who went on to become World Youth Champions in Max Hopp and Dimitri van den Berg. And that, you can take some interest in that because we've seen what they've done. Hopp winning one of these tournaments this year. Van den Berg performing excellently at the World Championship, and at the back end of last year, of course, when he won that World Youth title. But Suljovic needs to find a little bit more of that.
All done as per the draw bracket on the final day of these Euro Tours. So the winner of this game faces the winner of our next game. That is Kim Huybrechts and Peter Wright. Peter Wright, the number 2 seed. Kim Huybrechts, the number 10 seed. But I mean, we've seen that matchup in finals on the European Tour before now.
1 round of 40. That's your requirement 104. Game shot and a full flag.
Well, that was expertly done by Menzo Suljovic to get a leg on the board, having given his opponent a 3-0 head start.
Yeah, well, he got nervy, didn't he, against James Richardson, Steve Lennon, after taking the lead. You would hope that he may have learnt from that experience, because I don't think Menzo's going to be quite so generous as James Richardson was earlier on, if this does get down to the nitty-gritty at the back end of the match. It is first to 6 in the quarterfinals, it's first to 7 in the semis, first to 8 in the final. They increase the format of the last 2 rounds on the Euro Tour for this year. And it has led to some drama.
Really has. Just ask Max Hook.
That's Peter Wright, who in Leverkusen, first one of the year, was first to 6 legs, first to 7 legs, and lost 8-7. For that man, MVG.
Michael Van Gerwen was delighted when the announcement was made that the format had been increased, because he feels that the longer the match, the better chance he has of winning it.
1 round 40. Steve require 81.
But Steve Lennon's putting a great leg here, and this for 4-1. He's got 2 visits to see it off, and he may only need 2 darts.
69.
Well, Menzo Suljovic is well known for his clinical finishing, but it's very, very rare that you'll see 5 legs in and Menzo's only had 1 dart at double.
Yeah.
100.
Finishing is the strong point of his game, but he's no mug on the scoring. You don't win the Champions League and get where he has in the world of darts without being able to do the lot.
9
Problems for Lennon.
76.
Had a real chance there to move closer towards the checkered flag. Menzo Suljovic looking to slash the tyres.
68. Steve, you require.
Not sharp enough.
Well, this is awkward for so many reasons. Ooh, he's nearly hit the 20, but he's out the way of the double.
No score.
But that's one of the reasons it's awkward.
Now that could help rather than hinder. Clear bed.
Full score.
But not found.
Steve, you require 3.
Big deep breath for Steve Lennon. Oh, another reason it's awkward.
Well, he was so far to the other side last time out. He's over-adjusted there, and he has been punished. Are we seeing the signs? Steve Lennon is just starting to feel the magnitude of the occasion.
Well, he has missed at least, 6 darts at double, but he should have had more than that. You know, it's criminal missing inside in the first place when he had the first go at double 1, but then not to even hit the single 1 and give yourself another dart or 2. Problems of his own making, Steve Lennon, and what you do have to bear in mind, as Menzo fires at a third 180, he has never been in this position before, Steve Lennon, of having to play a game on stage. 180 number 2 for him. Come off, collect his thoughts, come back a few hours later and play another game on the stage, and potentially one after that.
Yeah, it's an important point now, because you mentioned his runs to the Pro Tour quarterfinals, but you're just constantly playing matches there, aren't you?
Yeah. You may get a little break, you might get a break of an hour or half an hour or something like that, but it's in a booth or a cubicle. There's no crowd, there's no fans, the adrenaline isn't quite the same, and you know, it feels like a sort of treadmill of darts over the course of the day. You're constantly playing. This is different.
This is exactly the same position that he found himself in the previous leg. 81 after 9.
Yeah.
He made a right old mess of it then.
68.
And once again, he could be in trouble here. Suljovic eyeing up 106, but Lennon, if he comes back, will have another awkward finish to face.
92.
Once again, we see Mensah leaving the double 14 and unable to hit it. And it's been a kind of theme over the last couple of weeks from Mensah.
That's a more solid darts.
That's not. He's kind of going to pieces, isn't he, Steve?
You can see it before our eyes, and Mensah Suljovic's eyes might be lighting up here. Although whatever it is, it's catching. And Mensah Suljovic has done this before, and it was Russ Bray who was reffing him then. He'd already set off as he threw his last dart. It doesn't count, so Mensah Suljovic has not busted his score there. The previous two counting, it's 7 scored.
It could cost him. We'll get to the rule in a minute and explain it. Well, in the end, it might have just eased the pressure a little bit. Maybe Steve Lennon was relieved to see that the focus was on Mensah Suljovic making a mistake rather than the series of mistakes he'd made in the last couple of legs. But yeah, if you throw your dart and you have crossed the oche, your foot doesn't have to be on the floor or anything. If you have crossed that imaginary line that just goes straight up from the oche, or imaginary barrier, if you will, then that counts as a foul throw, and Russ has called Mensah on it before.
I think it was at the World Championship.
Might well have been.
You just wonder, even though it didn't make a difference because Lennon went out the following throw, how that could just upset a player. Because I'm not sure how aware they are that they're doing that.
Well, I mean, I bet anybody who plays at home, they'll know players who on their last dart are walking with it.
And he obviously intended to bust his score, didn't he? He didn't intend to throw the last dart anywhere. It didn't matter where it landed. You see players doing that after they've already bust their score. But yeah, well done to Russ Bray for having his eyes peeled. It's not just about adding up the numbers, is it? Refereeing a darts match.
I just wonder if that may, as seemingly trivial as that little thing may seem, it may turn out to be a turning point, because it just did take the pressure off Steve Lennon a bit. Gave him something other to think about than look at all those doubles I've missed.
Yeah, took the focus off Steve Lennon, a man who likes to quietly go about his business.
Oh, there'll be nothing quiet about this. Oh. But he sets it up nicely, and Mensah's going to have to take out the 1-2-3. He's in danger, being pushed to the brink. It could happen. 16s he's looking at. Oh, wonderful stuff. It's right next to his favourite double. Oh, but he can't find it.
Well, he can't find his favourite, can't find the one next to it. Might find himself 5-2 down if Steve Lennon can keep composed.
Is that what he wanted?
Well, I don't think it was. Well, he didn't have to keep composed, but he found a way.
Well, Steve Lennon, I mean,
129.
he looks, I've said it before, one of the things I really like about Steve Lennon is his demeanour. He always seems like he's in control, and the last leg against James Richardson, significant portions of this game, certainly the second half of this match, he has looked in bits, and yet he's somehow finding ways to hit the double eventually.
Let's make no mistake, Steve Lennon right now is an absolute bag of nerves.
Yeah.
Might not appear like it, but he's got the serene appearance of a swan, but he's paddling away under the water, isn't he? Frantically.
Well, it's 4 180s for Mensah Suljovic.
Mensah require 133.
But Mensah has only hit 2 out of 11 darts at double in this match. Has put himself in a position here where he's got to be flawless, pretty much. Otherwise, he's hoping that Lennon doesn't just nervously, accidentally find some double somewhere to win the one leg that he needs.
Well,
Game
Suljovic
started the 8th leg.
does find his friend in double 14 on that occasion, but Steve Lennon has a chance here to bat it out.
Well, we have seen from Steve, even when he has been nervous, he's managed to leave 81 after 9 a couple of times. And one leg like that on throw, and he's got a couple of chances at it. And he's going to get match darts, you feel. Whether he can hit them or not is another matter.
It's an interesting complexion from this point, because you know that Mensah Suljovic would need to break twice to win this match, but if it were to go down to last leg decider, you would probably make him favourite.
125.
So with that in mind, this is a huge leg. It's already a massive leg for Steve Lennon. It's a leg that could see him reach the semi-finals.
100.
And to do it in front of almost 4,000 fans on a big European Tour stage.
Well, is 4 appearances prior to this weekend on the Euro Tour this year, 3 second round exits and 1 first round exit. So he's picked up 7 grand prior to this weekend. And just the money that he's winning here, I mean, if he did manage to make it through, that's 6 grand. And that's 30. So he's going to the European Championship. That will be enough. Almost certain.
Incidentally, if he wins this leg, next weekend in Milton Keynes, he'd be seeded at a Pro Tour event for the first time in his career.
Does he know that? Can he hit this? Can he hit this? Oh, Steve Lennon! A bag of nerves, throwing bags of nails at times, but has produced a magnificent check.